What's up, graphic designers? We're going to take some inspiration from these individuals where we have an athlete or an actor. You're going to find a hero or LMU subject or a labby of your choice, and we're going to slice them and dice them. We're going to be using blending modes and layer styles, and we're going to be creating something that looks a little bit like these. So we're going to talk about how to set it up. It's a little tricky to start, but ultimately I'm confident you can produce something that looks a little bit like this. We've got lots of details. I believe in you guys. Here's the future of LMU athletics, at least in the spring of 2025. So where do we begin? How do we start? We're going to download the sliced and diced blank, which you'll see in the assignment itself. And when we do, what we're then going to need to find is our subject. So here is this draft that I just started working on about an hour ago, and it took me a while to identify the images that I wanted to use and think about how I was going to partition this individual in a way that makes sense for me. So the very first thing I did was create a layer mask, isolate Jeremy, and then I'm going to press Command A, and then Command Option C to copy everything. We're going to press Command V to paste them in, and we're going to take advantage of all this space. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is maybe apply levels, Command M. I'm going to press Command J just so we're safe. And I'm going to make white in the foreground. I'm going to press B for brush, and I'm going to right click. And I notice the size is at 156, the hardness is at 100%. We're going to leave a hardness at 100%. We're going to drop the size to 40. I think that's going to be like a dimension that works well. We're going to create a new layer. And so this is going to be creating the divide. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go like this because this doesn't look super professional, right? We want clear, straight lines moving horizontally and vertically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click once, and now I'm holding Shift, and I'm cutting all the way across. And I want to keep his eyes separate, his mouth separate, and now I'm going to click once, I'm holding Shift, and we've got a vertical line, another vertical line, and you're going to think about like what makes sense for your design. Cool. I'm gonna click here, and this looks pretty fun so far. Okay, you're gonna think about what makes sense for yours. Okay, so what's up next? And so in a moment we're gonna need to start embedding images of athletes and events and individuals. However, we need to think about how we're gonna sort of self-contain these different panels. So if I use the magic wand tool and I notice that I'm in the lines layer, I can see it's completely encapsulated in this square. Likewise right here, it's completely limited to this rectangle. However, if I click right here, you're going to notice that it bleeds all the way through and around. So for example, again, if I use the magic wand and I click in this interior area and I use the paint bucket, you'll notice it's just limited to right here, right? Alternatively, if I use the magic wand on the outside and then I use the paint bucket, it's going to extend all the way to right here. So what we're going to do right now to address this issue and sort of seal up along the perimeter is this. I'm going to create a new layer and then paint bucket pink just so you can see these white lines that are extending across. What are we going to do? How is this going to work? That's a really great question. I'm going to delete this pink layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer above the profile photo. And I'm going to go back to that profile photo, the top one. And this is where the magic wand really comes in handy. I'm going to click on the outside. Anywhere on the outside, you'll notice that it creates a selection all along the perimeter. And if I use the paint bucket, it's going to, again, give us something that looks a little bit like this. However, what we're going to do is not paint it pink. Instead, we're going to paint it the same color as your lines or your gutters. In this case, it's white. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm in that very top layer. I'm going to click again. And so now if I hide the background layers and this is what we're left with, right? So what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to merge the two layers, the line layers with this white background or white exterior layer. And to do that, we're going to press Command E. All right, and now it doesn't look any different than it did before. However, what's really fun and what's really effective is now when we use the magic wand and we select this area right here, you're going to notice it's limited just to the upper right hand corner, right? If we click here, it's just this part of the brim. And so if I use the magic wand tool and the paint bucket and always on a new layer and I left click, it's isolated right there. All right, so what can we do now? That's a really great question. We're going to need to find some cool photos. And here's a fun one. I'm going to press Command A, Command C. And in this case, we're going to think about where we want to embed it. And so hypothetically, let's say we wanted to include it right here. I'm gonna press Command V, and it can be on the top layer. If I wanted, I might press V5 to reduce the opacity. Let's reduce the size to maybe 44%, and we're gonna have it right here just for the sake of this tutorial. I'm gonna press V0 for 100%, and we could drag it down a layer. It's not that serious. I'm gonna use the Magic Wand tool, and we're gonna make sure that we're on that lines layer, Magic Wand, and then click back on the socket layer, and then we've got the layer mask, of course, and then we can do a couple things. We can press Command J, Command Shift U, Command L to lighten the lights, darken the darks by applying levels. I know that you guys know this. And then I'm gonna return to the lines layer, Magic Wand. I'm gonna select this area once more, then we can select the color. Maybe it's pink since it's in the foreground. I'm gonna press Command D. I'm gonna press V, then hold Shift plus plus. We're gonna cycle through blending modes until you find something that you think looks pretty cool. And I'm not mad about overlay. I'm gonna press Command 0 to back out. And what you're gonna do, ladies and gentlemen, is you're gonna find all those fun examples that we sort of analyzed earlier to create a visual that celebrates a theme and labbies and athletes or artists of your choice.